All right, for those of you who could not join us for the one-to-one parent and student orientation, this recording is for you. Please forgive me if I make any mistakes as I'm recording or if I jump back and forth on the screen. Hopefully we can get this done quickly here. All right, so first of all, the one-to-one program is a program in which we're going to have every student receive a technological device in the middle school. This slide that I've just showed you is the website, www.columbusschoolforgirls.net/ms1to1/ and hopefully you've already seen this. And if you actually go to this site, you can see everything down here, the philosophy and vision, the research, what you get. This will be important. So if you are getting the Microsoft Surface, you can check through the equipment, the applications, software, what it would be if you purchased it off the shelf. Same with the Rising Form 8s with the ThinkPad laptop. So please check that over so you know what you're getting. Also, the user agreement, since you weren't at the orientation, it's recommended that you print off this PDF for either Form 6 or Form 7, whatever your student is going to be in. And when you print that off, this is the user agreement that was written up by our lawyers, just protecting the devices because they will be ours. Orientation information, obviously, you weren't there, so you can kind of disregard. And then this is another important information section in case you haven't seen it. It's frequently asked questions for students, and you can see all the different kinds of questions. And then definitely for the parents, there is even more frequently asked questions. This one's my favorite. My child lost insert word here. What do I do now? Tips for parents, this is essential. This is school to parent advice, which is just our recommendations to you, and I'll talk a little bit about that later on. And then parent to parent advice. We have had a one-to-one program in the upper school for about 8 years. So if you read this, this will be advice from those parents to you, so people who've been through a one-to-one program. Tips for the students, what they should do and what they should not do in regards to their device. And hold on. Sorry about that, I had a student come into my room just now. So going back to that website, I think I showed you the tips for the students from the upper school girls. So if they tell you, not to store things, on your bed, probably don't want to because they've been through it. The acceptable use policy, this is a very long document with lots of words. So I would recommend, instead of actually looking at this, maybe go to the standards of behavior. This is another agreement that your child will need to solve or sign, as well as you, but it basically puts it into everyday terms that will be easier for them to understand versus this acceptable use policy. In terms of troubleshooting and video tutorials, that information is coming soon. I mean, these are new devices, and we don't necessarily know how, how the girls are going to struggle with it. So we don't know what troubleshooting we'll need to post. And video tutorials will be coming soon as well. Also at the bottom, another good thing to know is contacts. I will go ahead and highlight this so you can look at it. Mr. Rogers, I'm sorry, Perry Rogers, Dr. Rogers. If you have any questions about, where the future plans are of the program, you can go to him. Myself, obviously, it says right there. Any software usage questions, curriculum integration, and troubleshooting and maintenance, I'd be happy to help with that. But probably the main people you're going to go to be Ben Liu, who is the Director of Information Technology, and the Help Desk, which is basically if there's something wrong with the computer, something wrong with an insurance claim or anything like that, those are the people you want to go to. All right. So with that being said, the program the need for the one-to-one program basically came out of this shift in the 21st century, and I won't go into too much detail about it. But basically, the world realized that, hey, we don't need laborers on a conveyor belt anymore. Instead, we need people to come up with new and innovative ideas. And technology we've seen is such a key tool in teaching these skills. So the middle school started evaluating the upper school program and realizing that, it can't just start in upper school. It's really we've got to start teaching those skills in middle school. And through looking at other kinds of research, we saw just the extreme benefits of a one-to-one program in, creating collaborative workers, in establishing creativity and critical thinking. So you might say, why are we doing a pilot program, just testing out the program? Well, we don't really necessarily know what's going to work best for the needs of middle school students. And so that's why, we looked at many different devices. And so we've kind of selected the Microsoft Surface Pro. And we don't necessarily know if this is something that's going to be right. So instead of having, the parents go ahead and purchase all of these devices and, going into this all out, we wanted to test it out first. So that's kind of why it's a pilot program. We anticipate that next week the girls will actually get their devices. However, if the girls want to take the device home, they'll be able to use it in the classroom. But if they want to take it home, they'll have to show their advisor a carrying case. So the Form 6 students will be getting the Microsoft Surface Pro. You can see here's the device itself. It will come with actual keyboard, and we decided not to get the touch keyboard. It's actually, when you touch the key, it'll actually move, and we think that'll be better for our students. It comes with a charger, and then obviously the stylus. And then if you're a Form 7 student, you will be getting the actual laptop itself and then the power cord. And a lot of parents want to know, why the two different devices? Well, first of all, we don't want to commit to one device. Second of all, we thought about the Form 7s, which are going to be Form 8s very soon, getting this Microsoft Surface Pro. And we really just, hesitated about giving it to them as well because we realized that in upper school they're going to be getting a Lenovo tablet PC. And to teach them this separate device, which is the Surface Pro, and then having them to switch back to the Lenovo PC was just a disadvantage. So this ThinkPad is really going to serve as a bridging device between the two. So it's important that you know that CSG is going to maintain ownership. On the website, the user agreements are there for Form 6 and 7, and really I want you to know there's no financial responsibility for the device. However, you do have to purchase either a carrying case or protective sleeve for the device, and I'll get into that in a minute. So, again, a lot of this information is covered on the website, but I'm no dummy, and I know you're probably not going to look at every single part of the website. So these are kind of the information that I think you're going to want to know the most. The devices are covered under a warranty, and what's specifically not covered under the warranty is in your user agreement. It's underneath number 5. So check that out. I think the warranty is pretty good, actually. What happens if they lose the device? Contact Mr. Liu immediately. Unfortunately, if they lose the device, the parents are in charge of replacing it completely, which can be costly. The Surface $1,400 and the laptop $1,200. If they lose their sleeve or their carrying case, you just have to replace it. In terms of the Microsoft Surface Pro, the stylus, that little pencil figure I showed you a little while ago, that's $29.99. We're taking all the measures we can to possibly prevent that loss. We understand middle school students lose pencils all the time, so this might happen. So we have the stylus has every girl's name on it. The storage or protective devices that we're recommending have zippers so that they can easily keep track of that. But if that happens to get lost, it's $29.99. The charger is actually $79.99 because we actually have it has a USB actual cord for it as well that helps out the student. And then if you lose the laptop charger, $54.99. And if you go to the website and you click on these links, it'll take you right to where you can purchase those. In order to prevent loss and damage, I very much encourage you to look at the parent and student facts or FAQs on the website. Have your students read the tips on the website and see the user agreement in your user agreement number 3 about the insurance rider. The business department, our lawyers recommended that you take that out, just in case something does happen, just in case there is a break-in, you can at least have that replaced for you. Courtesy of your insurance. And as of the 8 years of the upper school program, I believe there was only one time that a device was actually lost or stolen. And then the best way to prevent loss and damage that we're teaching the girls that we want you to reinforce at home is use their sleeve and case to protect it. So, what are the sleeves or cases that we suggest? For the Microsoft Surface, a sleeve, and we suggest that it has a zipper. So this is the Incipio, and these are the ones that the Microsoft company promotes, which is $39.99. And on the website, you can go to these links and order it right from there. And then the Nixon, I believe, is $49.99. Again, why we suggest these is because they have these zippers, okay? And as you saw, that stylus can be lost very easily. So we want to prevent that. So that's why we suggest these. On the website, you can click on those links and purchase it online. For the Lenovo ThinkPad, it's a 14-inch device, so we ask that you either carry a sleeve that the girls can put in their backpack just to protect it, or even better, a carrying case. You know your daughter much better than I do. However, I know if I had a daughter and if it happened to be me, I would get them the carrying case because I drop everything. So just think about your daughter and what would be best for her needs. In terms of standards and behavior agreement, I do want to show you where that's located on the website. It's right here, and it's this PDF. So what you're going to do is you're going to download that, and on there is a place for both you and your daughter to sign it. It's this exact document, but it's an actual place where you need to go ahead and sign it. And the reason why we have this agreement is just so that the girls know what's appropriate behavior online and what's not. It's important to keep each other safe. It's important to respect each other, and we also have to use it to keep our devices protected as well to prevent damage and loss. So you might be asking, how do we use this? How will we use these in class? These are essentially going to become, essential in every part of class, whether we're working on it in class, on taking notes, or working on a project, or using an application that helps them complete an assignment, or they're using it at home, out of class, working on homework. These are really going to be essential. So they're going to need to bring it to school and bring it home. Speaking of bringing it to school and bringing it home, we ask that they are fully charged, and that's part of the behavior agreement, that when they bring it to school, it's fully charged, because especially the Surface Pro, because it is smaller, it doesn't have the same kind of battery life that, say, a laptop is going to have, which is why, again, it's essential that it comes to school ready to be already charged. In terms of the spring and academics, this period is 2 months. It's very short, and what we hope to do is just kind of have the girls explore and become oriented with their device, and the teachers are also kind of doing the same thing and exploring how can we use these in the class. And then next year is when we're going to really have expectations across every class and in every class, in which we'll have a common turn-in system. We'll have a common binder or a way of taking notes or app that everyone's going to use to take in notes. So that's kind of what you can expect next year. It's going to be much more streamlined. Now, obviously, at some point in using this device, there's going to be a problem. Hopefully no damage or loss. It could be during class. It could be outside of school. And what we suggest that you do is just contact the help desk, whether you email or call. If it's outside of school, probably not going to get back to you that night, but at least when they come in the next day, they're going to be ready to go to answer the question or be able to seek the student out, or even better, have your student take it there first thing in the morning if something happens. In terms of installation, all of the devices should have what software we ask of the girls, and in addition, antiviruses are already on there. So we ask that you don't install anything additional, and don't worry about any maintenance. That's what our help desk is for. And in fact, we're going to have the girls take responsibility for some of the maintenance themselves. Then also in terms of music and movies, what we're encouraging the girls to do is really, keep music on the devices they have at home, whether it's their iPad or iPod, or their laptop at home. That's what that's for. And we want to really try to instill the idea that these devices are for education only. The advantage there is to make sure that when your girls are using these devices, that they're using them productively. And then, the other advantage is, not wasting, storage space or slowing the machine down because there are all of these things loaded on there. Now, there is one special case. The Surface Pro does allow students to purchase apps. And every student will have a Microsoft account in which they can purchase applications. So Form 6 parents, listen up right now. If something is free, such as this or this or this, they will be able to download it without a problem. However, as you can see, this Angry Birds Star Wars is $4.99. Now, they will not be able to download that unless you tie a credit card to their Microsoft account. And then they can purchase anything they want. So it's my suggestion to you. You don't have to take it, but I would suggest not tying a credit card to that account so that they can't just purchase whatever they want. And in addition, it's also going to be our recommendation to the girls that you don't download any apps that are not educational. Now, obviously, we can't control this because what happens at school and what happens at home on the device are two different things. We can't control what happens at home. So they might download some of these applications. But how we're going to check it at school is if they're using one of the apps that's not educational at school, then they're going to face those consequences, that were outlined on because it's not an expected behavior that was outlined on the behavior guide. So the next thing with that is if you do decide to tie a credit card to your student's account, that's not a problem at all. However, please make sure you do have a discussion with them about, what they can purchase and what they can't purchase, or how much they can spend and how much they can't spend, because, we don't want that to come back on us because, what happens at home we really can't control. So speaking of home, all we can do at school is control what your daughter does using her device by monitoring. We have, our iBoss system, which has filters and blocks her from inappropriate sources on the websites. But at home, she's going to use your wireless that you have set up. So you may not have any filters, and you might want to instill filters, or you may not have a good environment for her to be monitored to make sure that she's only looking at certain things, and you might want to consider doing that. So this is all on the parents tip page, but I really want, and there are resources on there to help you do that. There's articles and suggestions and some videos, but I would really suggest that you create a work environment. And again, you might be rolling your eyes and even fast forwarding this, but there's something to be said about having a good work environment that students can actually concentrate, and it helps them actually stay focused while they're on their device instead of going onto social media or anything else they could do. Discuss how and where to store the device at home. This is important because I know, the rooms are very scary, and in one pile there could very easily be a piece of cake, perhaps, a ninja sword, her Surface Pro, and the dirty pajama bottoms. I don't know. So think about where is the best place to store that to prevent damage. And then also talk to teens about the internet. Now, I'm really happy to say that starting next year, we're going to have a program teaching kids about the internet and what's safe and smart and everything like that. But it's very important it comes from parents as well. Media agreements. I even have one of these with my boyfriend. Talk to your kids and establish family rules about, okay, well, after 10 o'clock, no computer usage. Or, when it's dinner time, no devices can be used or anything like that. That ensures that, our devices aren't destroying your family or anything like that. And I talked about this a little bit earlier, the importance of tracking or filters or productivity. If you're worried about your kid not using it correctly, go to the parents tips page. I myself am thinking about there's some productivity sources that I'm thinking about installing on my own computer, just so I can see, am I really wasting my time on the computer, which I think I am. Talk about cyberbullying, netiquette, and I already talked about this, establishing guidelines for apps. So the next steps, you've already listened to this. Next, what you need to do is you need to download that user agreement, which, if you remember, that's right here. Just download it, and what you'll need to do is sign it. And then, since you're not at the orientation, please just turn it into the middle school office. Ms. Hayhurst has a folder there. Also, next up, you're going to download that Standards of Behavior Agreement, which I'm sorry I'm bouncing back and forth between these. I know that's not what you're supposed to do, which is right here. So you're going to download that. You and your student are going to sign it, and then you're going to turn that back into the middle school office. And then you're going to bring in that sleeve or carrying case for the Surface or Lenovo ThinkPad to show your student's advisor. So I know you're not supposed to jump around like this, but again, I just wanted to show you this. So before they can take this home, the device home, we're asking that each girl shows their advisor either the carrying case or the sleeve that they have purchased. So those three things need to be done. We need to have the user agreement, the behavior agreement, and proof of a carrying case in order for this to happen. So hopefully that fills you in on what you missed. Feel free to contact me if you have any questions. Again, this is the website, columbusSchoolForGirls.net /ms1to1 and again, this is so essential. Look through this. Encourage your students to look through this. This will be key. But please, again, do feel free to contact any of us, especially myself, if you have any questions. Be more than happy to help you. So thanks for listening. Sorry for all the slip-ups and the interruptions there, but thank you very much, and look forward to helping your children with technology in the classroom. Thanks.